If people hear anything today, it's that we are nature, right? We're not a separate entity from nature. We are actually a part of this whole symbiotic relationship with nature. But some really powerful things happen to us, physiological things that happen to us when we are exposed to the earth, right? When we smell the earth, when we touch the earth, things like lowering depression and anxiety. We sleep better when we are exposed to green space. Our blood sugar is lowered. Our cardiovascular health improves. Our inflammation decreases.
Welcome to Zestful Aging, where I speak with change makers from all over the world who are contributing to the common good. Contributing to the common good in even the smallest of ways is proven to help us age with vitality and deep contentment. I'm your host, Nicole Christina, psychotherapist and fellow Zestful Ager. My goal here is to share optimism about aging and introduce you to guests who will inspire you to live with zest. And to find out more about the podcast, hop on over to zestfulaging.com. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly email newsletter, The Insider, where you will get behind-the-scenes looks at our guests and other fun tidbits. And if you love the podcast, I'd be grateful if you shared it with your friends. Our music is courtesy of Judy Banker, who was a previous guest. Find out more at judybanker.com. Our technical director is Stephen Litweiler. So if you were to design a healing experience for a loved one with dementia, what would it look like? Would it include fresh air, nature, self-expression, and laughter? Today we're going to speak with Michelle Olson from Evergreen Minds, who is going to tell us about her work creating mindful outdoor experiences that are intergenerational and dementia inclusive. And we're going to talk about why nature is so important for our bodies and our minds, especially as we age. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm so happy to be here.
Excellent. We're going to have a lot to talk about because we have a lot of shared interests here, and I'm just so interested in your work. I do wonder about starting this mission during COVID. Can you tell me a little bit about how that came about?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of like, why would you do this during a pandemic? But there's no better time, right, to get outdoors than during a global pandemic. So, I've been dreaming about this for a while, but, during the pandemic, we've all been really stressed and overloaded with screens, and we've been isolated from loved ones. So, many of us were drawn to go back outdoors and get that connection that we've been missing. And, in the height of COVID, so many times, I remember even hiking, and the hiking trails were packed, which was so interesting, right? And we all had to cover our faces because there were so many people on the trails. And that was kind of surreal. But really, during the pandemic, people who are living in long-term care, as we know really well now, in hindsight, people were kept in their rooms. They were, kind of kept out of engaging with other people. And everything was really limited for them. And because really we didn't know what else to do. So even outdoor visits were, carefully scheduled and timed. But really this whole idea of Evergreen Minds was developed because after working in many years in different long-term care communities, the realization to me was, these homes are really constructed in a way that disallows people to have the option of daily access to being outdoors with the community. And so kind of in essence, we've just sort of accepted this sanctioned isolation when people move into long-term care. And, particularly when they have, memory care settings, then people are even more kind of disconnected from the rest of the world. So that's pretty much what got me wanting to start this program where we open up the doors, right? We take the locks off the doors and we bring people together.
Opening the doors, that's beautiful. So opening the doors, the theme of opening the doors, it just sounds so there's freedom there. Talk a little bit about, I mean, we probably know intuitively that it's good to be outside. It's good to be in a community. We all kind of know this and we've heard it. Why is it so important? What really happens to people as they are outdoors in fresh air and nature?
Right, right. Well, I think the number one takeaway, if people hear anything today, it's that we are nature, right? We're not a separate entity from nature. We are actually a part of this whole symbiotic relationship with nature. But some really powerful things happen to us, physiological things that happen to us when we are exposed to the earth, right? When we smell the earth, when we touch the earth, things like lowering depression and anxiety. We sleep better when we are exposed to green space. Our blood sugar is lowered. Our cardiovascular health improves. Our inflammation decreases. What else? So there's a beautiful theory called attention restoration theory by Kaplan and Kaplan. And so this has been studied many times since the 80s and 90s, that our concentration improves and we're able to focus better and reflect more. And, it's really like, why wouldn't we want to be outdoors, right? We've gotten so accustomed to being inside, but so many beautiful things happen when we are outside.
And I'm guessing it becomes obvious when you're seeing people who might have some cognitive deficits and they're out there, they're in nature, they're doing some mindful outdoor experiences. Do you see them sort of come alive and become more fully themselves?
I can honestly say yes, without a doubt. And not just people with dementia, but everybody, right? That's why when we go outside, when we wheel outside or we walk outside, there's like this awakening, I think, that happens, this kind of a feeling of awe and that fascination comes over us. We can be fully present in our bodies. And I do see this with people who are living with dementia. And that's what's so interesting to me is how, in the design, right, the design of buildings, we really have to kind of get back to bringing nature in, right? Bringing people out and then also bringing nature in, just to kind of stimulate some of these benefits. Yeah, for sure.
And the science is so fascinating. If you look into forest bathing and all of that, it's kind of mind blowing. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about Project Growing Together. I know that there's a preserve at Vassar College. Tell me a little bit about what that's all about.
Oh, yeah. So Project Growing Together. So Evergreen Minds has started this past January. We started this Evergreen Minds intergenerational and dementia inclusive garden. And it is so beautiful. And I'm kind of hoping that one day I won't actually have to say that, right? Like I won't need to say those words, intergenerational, dementia inclusive. Like that's right. Like that's
the obvious.
Yes. Like it's our community. This is what we do. We come together. So this whole dream is that, we do kind of come together. We continue to promote citizenship, which is a term that Jill Vitale also uses, kind of to describe, to reframe how we view people in long-term care. So I love that. So this is kind of promoting citizenship. So everybody in this garden, which includes, Vassar College students, it includes, older members from the community, people with dementia, people without dementia, just everyone is truly welcome here in this garden. It's also a art gallery too, which was actually one of the ideas that came from one of our interns, is to make it a garden space, but also an art gallery. And so we go into different nursing homes, we create art, the art comes into the garden. We also, the things that we grow are chosen by the participants, where they grow, everything from the design to what's planted, where it's planted.
They're invested.
They're vested, yes. And then what we harvest goes back into these long-term care communities so that they can continue, right? Those roots just keep rippling out so they can garden. They can take the gardening produce and they can do cooking programs, or they could do creative arts programs with the flowers. So it's a really beautiful thing to witness. And it's our first year, and I'm in love with it. It's fantastic.
And it's early in the season in upstate New York. Mm-hmm. So are you getting anything popping up yet?
Well, right now thank you. Yeah, it is pretty much dirt. It's dirt right now, but we have put in the cold items, right? The radishes and the lettuce, that type of things. But we have started seeds. Many, many volunteers have started seeds, and those will go in, after Mother's Day here in New York. So, those will be in the ground soon. So
even that, I mean, to watch something grow from seed, I still find miraculous.
Right. And it's very metaphoric, right? Like we're planting seeds. And also, one of the things that I love is that these seeds that we're planting, literal and figurative, are showing, right? So I have some statements. Oh my gosh, I could share them with you if you like.
I'd love to. I'd love that.
Oh, yeah, let me see. So I have these seeds. They're like sprouting seeds. So, when I was asking our volunteers and our students, some of the reflections from this experience that we've had together in this garden and starting this community garden. One of our volunteers, who, an older adult, said, "As a retired nurse who loves gardening and whose father lived with dementia, I felt as if this project would pull together important aspects of my life while providing an opportunity to meet new people. Mm-hmm. Working alongside the interns was an added treat. Their fresh and open attitudes towards the work and the goals of the project were inspiring. I have renewed optimism about the future, knowing that they will be in charge someday." Mm-hmm. And so this is kind of interesting, right? Because one of our goals is to reduce ageism and ableism. And so we see ableism goes both ways. And so another volunteer, an older adult, said, "I must say that these kids really changed my opinion of this generation. They're very hardworking and motivated." Mm-hmm. And I love that. And then from the student, I won't read all of them, but let's see. I've got some really wonderful thoughts from the students as well. "Working with Evergreen Minds has changed my perspective on older people. Our first visit to the nursing home was shocking because I had never been around people that far along in their dementia journey. But as we began painting with them, I saw how their faces lit up as they painted and chatted with one another. I was able to see the community create the happiness that comes from shared experience." So these are pretty beautiful, right? Pretty profound. So
they're life-changing. I can imagine students making career choices based on this volunteer experience.
Right. And they reflect on the pathologizing that's happening, right? And how people are marginalized. So their eyes are really opening. It's wonderful. This project has grown in ways I hadn't imagined.
As a psychotherapist of 30 years with a specialty in food and eating issues, I know that holidays can be a real challenge when it comes to eating and food. Food and family visits are often a very tricky combination. So if you'd like to learn how to have a more peaceful relationship with food, both during the holidays and the rest of the year, check out my web course, The Wisdom of Mindful Eating. This course is super practical and user-friendly, and it has the power to change your life. You'll find the course on the zestfulaging.com website. Now back to the show. And is one of your missions or your hopes to have this replicated in other parts of the country?
Yes, definitely. So one of our goals is really to do some research next year and see how we can, get some evidence behind this that we already know works, but get some evidence and then also replicate it in other parts. So California, we have some board members in California. Mm-hmm. So that would be our one of our goals is to have this created in other communities. And people have reached out to me about, how can we do this where I live? And then also creating kind of an educational piece too, where we can go in and educate communities how they can do this where they are, right? Whether it's in New York City or, the woods of Massachusetts, wherever people are in this country or this world, we will hope to be able to provide some educational opportunities for that.
Mm-hmm. Are there any challenges for you, Michelle, doing this kind of work?
That's so interesting that you asked me that, Nicole. I would say the biggest challenge is the stigma that goes when people often hear, particularly middle-aged and older people, hear the word dementia. It's kind of like, I don't really want to think about that. And so getting people to engage in a program that brings everybody together seems to me to be a little intimidating for some people, which is interesting. And I hope that we can work towards changing that, because really we're all people, and we may think a little differently, but we're all in this together. So
maybe the fear of seeing somebody with dementia keeps people away.
Perhaps I've had people. I had one woman actually say to me, well, I don't have dementia. And I said, but that's okay. It's okay. You don't need to have dementia. We're all, working together to create this garden and these experiences, more importantly, right? So even if the garden doesn't, if it grows weeds, whatever, the point is we're together and everybody's working together and has
and
a
learning
voice.
from one another.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, definitely.
Are there any particular residents that you've grown more fond of and watched their development and journey?
In this project, you're saying?
Yeah.
You know what? Not really, because we just started in January. I can actually get teary thinking about, the people that have contributed, because I'm just the one putting it, offering this, right? But it's really the people in this project who are making the decisions, who are actually creating it, like literally
it's a
building it.
democracy.
Yeah, totally. So, I'm just really grateful for every single person, whether they've just given an opinion or whether they've gotten in that garden every weekend to put nails to board. I'm just grateful for all of the people that have participated so far.
Is this something that you see is starting to get traction, this idea that there are better ways to live our later years? Do you find that, like, the average person on the street is aware that there are programs now that are much more mindful and encompassing and sort of lovely for people, rather than just being in a long-term care facility? Is this starting to get out in our culture?
I don't think the average person is aware. I think we kind of accept what is given to us. But that's not to say there's not really great strides being made. Like, for example, you've probably heard of the Greenhouse Project. So they've been leaders for years, kind of in these principles of balancing risk and focusing on dignity and continued contribution. So the Greenhouse Project, there's green care farms, which like in the Netherlands, where people are in community, they're living with dementia, but they're giving back to their community through these agricultural contributions and connecting to one another and with the land. So, it is being done. I just think we're a little bit behind here in the States.
In the U.S. I've noticed that too, in terms of interviewing people in the U.K. and Europe and Scandinavia, that they're like, yeah, we've been doing this. What's taking you so long?
Right. And so that's what this garden is. It's just this seed, right? I believe that we can do this. We can show that there are other alternatives, that choice should be given, and people can make the decision for themselves, right? If they want more of a hospitality type feel or a traditional nursing home model, which I don't believe most people do want that, but there should be more choices. And it's well past time to get those going.
Is this what you studied mostly in your graduate work, or did this evolve since you've done your degrees?
Yeah, so I got my master's in art therapy. So I've always created for about 25 years. I've created art in a therapeutic way with older adults specifically. And then because I have kind of looked at those injustices in the long-term care system, that's what prompted me to go on and get a gerontology degree, right? So I got a doctorate in gerontology, hoping to help get some of these changes going and reframe the kind of a broken system that I think we have right now.
Well, you just mentioned inequalities. What do you mean when you say inequalities in care and some justice issues? What are you describing?
Right. So, and by no means, I just want to preface this by saying I don't want to bash, like, there's so many hardworking folks that have been through, heck and back to especially during this pandemic. But there are a lot of inequities in dementia care. And, one of the things that I feel really interested in is when we think about environmental justice, we think about people who are marginalized and they don't have access to healthy food and water and air and, clean places to live. That's really important. But I think what I want to do is expand the definition of environmental justice to incorporate people who are living in long-term care. So people who are marginalized based on a cognitive diagnosis. So I think the social movement can really be expanded so that, like I said, we unlock the doors, right? Again, balancing risk. And so not just accepting segregation, right, as a standard practice and saying, well, that's how we do it, right? That's how things get done. But giving people access and choice to the natural world, to green space. And it's, really looking at it as a human rights issue and an environmental justice issue. So that's what really gets me fired up, Nicole. So
I read an article, I'm sure you're aware of this, that even when you look at the Earth from space, you can tell where the impoverished neighborhoods are because they have less green space, less trees.
Right. And yeah, wow, that's interesting. And I think too, we don't have to live in a beautiful cedar forest, like to gain these benefits and to interconnect with the world, the green space and the world around us. I mean, you can do this from a parking lot. I think that when you go into a forest, studies show that, the benefits just, increase, but, being in touch with the natural world and even frankly, looking at them through a window, which not everybody even has that, right? Like not everybody even has a window view of nature. So I think we can really expand that too. We can do better about, how we connect people every day, with nature. I just, I invite the listeners and you, Nicole, like just to think for a moment, like, what if I said, you know what, starting today, you're not allowed to go outside. You're gonna go out when it's okay for my schedule, but for right now, I just need you to stay in here. Just stay here. Like, I don't know how I would do.
I know how I would do. I would not do. I would do very poorly because that's such an important part of my day.
Right. We want to talk about behaviors, and I'm saying that with my air quotes, but it's like, oh, I'd have some awful behaviors if you said, Michelle, you're stuck. Here you are.
You'd be so like tense, I think, and just unsettled.
Right.
That's a great way to sort of think about like what it means to be, the term warehoused is really appropriate here.
Yeah. I've had a lot of older people talk about that and that sense of imprisonment. And I had a rabbi once tell me that she would rather die than go into, a nursing home. And, it's heartbreaking. It's like a reality. And, I think a lot of nursing homes are doing really beautiful work too. There are gardens in some of these homes and there are patios. That's great. We need that, but we need more access, right? And more choice. That's really what I'm here to say.
And I think your point is that it's maybe more effort, right? To say, okay, we're going to go outside, even though I've got a lot of other patients or citizens, however they're referred to. And that's more work. And
it is.
I understand there's quite a shortage in people who are able to work with, in nursing homes. How does that work out then?
Yeah, it's true. It is more work. And I've been there. I worked as a activity director, life engagement director for a lot of years, and I would try my very best to get as many people as I could outside for all different things, from picnics to music to exercise to just sitting in the outdoors and noticing. Like, I did it all, camping, but it's hard. It's a lot of work, and you can only take so many people, right, at once, because you do want to keep people safe. You don't want to bring 40 people out.
Right. But and then they wander.
Yeah, you have to do it safely, but there's a way. And I think rather than saying, it's not safe, let's figure out a way to make it a priority.
Because
just like
it's so important.
Right, for all of us. And it shouldn't change because people get admitted. One time I was visiting this long-term care community, and there was a woman who was, quite far along in her dementia journey, and she is used to walking every day. She has traveled the world, lived in tropical climates. She loves the earth, and she actually called herself Earth Mama, right? Or Nature Mama. And so her daily habit and routine was to walk every day. So the day I came, they happened to have a birthday party that day, right? With a big room full of people and a wonderful band and everything. But she didn't really want to do that. She wanted to go out on a walk. And the staff asked her to sit down and enjoy the party. She didn't want to. They asked again. She flipped, right? She lost it. And I was like, my heart broke. I was like, oh my goodness, she just wants to go outside. But that's what I'm thinking. Like, let's just reimagine how we do that. Like, we could have avoided her distress, and somebody there could have just perhaps taken a walk with her outdoors. Just take a walk, for a few minutes and avoided all of that. And
that's an important story. I mean, it's just so helpful to drain off the tension that we all live with.
Right. Just empathetic,
Are there any particular mindful outdoor experiences that are your favorites?
Well, I've been practicing. I'm also a certified forest therapy guide. So one of my favorite things to do, and this is something anybody can do at any time, and the more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. And that is when you are outdoors, noticing everything you're experiencing through your senses. So just going through your senses, trying to, when you recognize your busy mind, which we all have, just kind of smiling. Like, I smile to myself. I say, okay, brain, get back to it. And I'll go back to my sense of smell, or I'll go back to my sense of touch, or what am I tasting, or what, if you close your eyes and just sit quiet and then open your eyes, what might you notice? What textures, what movement?
Really grounding.
Grounding and really connecting with yourself and with the land. And building gratitude. Like, sometimes a daily practice that I love to do is I will thank all of the beings in the more than human world, as we call it. So just giving thanks to everything around me.
And here in upstate New York, hearing the birds is like, yay, they're back.
Yeah.
And I'll often greet them in the back. Right. Oh, hi, Goldfinch. It's great to see you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
so wonderful.
We've missed you. It's been, the winters are so long. That's lovely. And we know the research on gratitude is robust, and how helpful and health promoting it is. Yeah. So if there are listeners out there, which I'm sure there will be, who think, this is a much better option for my loved one, how can they learn more about you and your work and what you offer here?
Well, I would love to talk with anyone who's interested in this, or even just, finding out how they can connect with one another more closely, with the land and each other. So the website is evergreenminds.org. And they can certainly email me at molson, Olson, at evergreenminds.org. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I am just be thrilled and honored to speak with anybody about this. So.
Well, that sounds wonderful. I mean, I think it's, as you've said, there are options, there are alternatives, and that it just offers such a more positive, hopeful view of the future for all of us.
Right. And if there aren't options, ask for them, right? Like see how we can make these changes ourselves in our communities.
Okay, that's great. I think that's always great advice. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing your work and Evergreen Minds. We really appreciate spending time with you today.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. It's been a pleasure for me too, and I appreciate that you're interested in our work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us on Zestful Aging. If you like the podcast, please share it with some of your friends. If you think decluttering could help you feel better and you could use a little assistance with that, check out the online course I've developed with professional organizer and designer Carrie Luderin. It's called Too Much Stuff. And Too Much Stuff is different from other courses or articles or guidance you may have used up. We give you clear steps to deal with the clutter and the tools to help you face the overwhelming feelings and the emotions that come up when we're going through our clutter. And a lot of those emotions are just feeling anxious or guilty or just basically flooded with a lot of different confusing feelings. The course is really practical. It's realistic. The lessons are short and punchy, and they're really manageable. We're not trying to set you up for some long exploratory, super in-depth, burdensome experience. We want something really helpful for you right now. We all need help with our anxiety. So being surrounded by more calm and less chaos can really help. So now's a good time to clear out the clutter so we can focus on what's really important in our lives. So find out more at zestfulaging.com. You'll see more about this under the web courses tab. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email at zestfulaging@gmail.com. Thanks so much. And stay tuned next week for another interview with a fascinating and inspiring guest.